What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Extra Innings Podcast. We're back today here on November 4th. I can't believe it's November. This is crazy. This is the first episode of the off season. We're gonna get right into this. Let me just turn up this audio real quick. Yeah, that's real nice. That's perfect. All right. So we got a couple topics to talk about today. Obviously, the first two topics are going to be Yankees. Have to be biggest. I mean, obviously the Dodgers Yankees World Series. Well, actually, I guess the first couple are going to be Dodgers Yankees news, and then we're going to talk about some offers that were extended today, and people who've accepted already, and people who are not going to. People who got offers today, I think they have till like the 19th to accept them or decline them or whichever way they're going to lean. So I think they've got some time, but I'll give you my opinion on whether they're going to take it or whether they're going to just let it go. It's going to be interesting. So first moment of business was we're going to talk about Gerrit Cole on Saturday. It was kind of just busted out in the news. I was actually out in Stillwater, Oklahoma with my girlfriend. We were visiting some family of hers, and I hadn't really been tuned in. I kind of took, I know I took a massive break. Then I got real in depth in the World Series, and I was like, I'm gonna take like the weekend, a couple of days off, and I'm gonna hit it back on Monday. So I just really wasn't really paying attention to a lot of the news, and like 5 people sent me, "Oh my God, Cole! They're gonna lose Cole and Soto, blah blah blah." And I was like, I thought Cole was locked in. And I completely forgot that when he signed back in, I think it was like 2019 or 2020, after his World Series with the Astros, I remember looking at the contract and looking at it, and that he would have the opportunity to opt out unless they extended him. So I freaked out for a brief second, and then I was like, wait a minute. That was going to happen. He wanted more. He's going to want more money at that point. I'm not a huge fan of that clause. I guess it just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, so I had saw that he opted out, and he was going to want that extra year and $36 million. And here's the deal. Here's what I thought about that. The minute I saw it, I was like, either he's not going to stay with the Yankees, which is he's expressed so much love for being in New York and being in the Bronx that I was like. And obviously the 5th inning, which is still fucking nightmare feel. I was working today, and the MLB channel was playing the highlights of both teams throughout the day, and we finally made it back to the World Series, and it was just fucking terrible to watch even again. Even though it was a week later, it's still fucking brutal to watch. But even with that 5th inning, that was pretty awful. I still didn't think it was enough for him to like want to just absolutely up and leave New York. I didn't feel that. It was clearly just him wanting extra money. An extra $36 million, which in my opinion, at the moment when I was thinking about it, I took some notes at the moment on the ride, and I was like, personally, and I tweeted it, I personally believe this. I was like, I love Gerrit Cole. Gerrit Cole's a great pitcher. He's an ace. He's the ace of this staff, no doubt, no questions. But another year on that contract that they already owe, plus, with $36 million, is he really worth it? He's on the latter half of his career. He's I'm not going to say he's a far cry, because he did show some real like ace stuff in that game 5 against LA in that inning. Even in the 5th inning, the striking out of Ohtani, and then the striking out of I forgot who it was, but he got 2 key strikeouts in that 5th inning. I don't even want to think about that stupid inning to get him out. It was I think it was the 9-hole, and then Shohei striking them both out, getting the 2 outs, even with all the errors. No one had scored yet. That was big shit. And then he actually got the ground ball, which we'll talk about Rizzo as well. I mean, that's 3 outs. You got out of it. Like I think obviously it doesn't fall all on Rizzo, but Rizzo is very much a far cry of where he was when he won the World Series with the Cubs in 2016. No doubt. He's not that anymore, which it's shown on all fronts, the hitting, the defense. So it is in part on Anthony Rizzo, but it's more on Cole. It's like, it's on both of them. Let me just say it's on both of them. Both terrible defense. One assuming that he's going to be there, the other one pointing at him to get there. It's like, just fucking get there. It's PFP. This is what you've been doing. You're a professional. This is what you should have been doing. Nonetheless, I digress. I didn't think that he was really going to want to leave. I thought it was just a cry for more money. It was. Obviously, today it was announced that he's going to stay with the Yankees, and they're going to pen an extension. It's pending an extension that they're working out behind the doors, whatever. He's going to stay a Yankee. Great. Whatever. Saw it coming. Was never truly worried that he was going to leave. But again, I'm curious to see what exactly they're working out on the back end, because I don't think he's worth much more. He's got maybe I'd say 3-4 more good years in him at the most, like truly good ace years before, I mean, his age is going to start playing a role and he might go downhill. We look at Justin Verlander, we look at Max Scherzer, all those guys in their 35 to 39 year seasons. It's just not looking good. But we're going to see. We're going to see. I mean, again, he showed us some great shit in that game 5 all the way through. I have nothing to say there. It was really good. He looked really good. He looked great. Next on the list that I had was going to be Juan Soto. Juan Soto, and this is what a lot of people don't understand. When the Yankees signed him for the 1 year in the offseason last year, I was psyched. I was like, Juan Soto's a great ball player. I watched him win the World Series against Houston in 19. Went over to the Padres. Obviously, we knew he was destined for much more because after that year, that's when they had Strasburg, they had Zimmerman, they had Howie Kendrick, they had Trey Turner. It was like that team was going to dissolve. It just wasn't going to last. But he was obviously in a rookie contract, so he was going to be stuck there. But once I knew that in that rebuilding year, he was going to eventually leave. I think everyone fucking knew he was destined for more than Washington. Everyone knew it. Goes to the Padres, which the Padres have always had that urge to really do something. Like even this past year, I thought they were a great fucking team, but they just can never really like put it together. You Darvish, Tatis, like Merrill, like all these great guys, like they just can't put it together. They even had Juan Soto at a point. Like I was just like, what the fuck, man? Like Manny Machado, like all these guys are fucking good. You would think that they would put it together, but they just haven't. And even when they had Soto, it was a dismal year when they had Soto. Like, and then I knew after that year he was going to chase the money. And here's the thing about Juan Soto that a lot of people don't quite wrap their head around. Like, yes, the stage is built for Juan Soto and his kind of ball player. Like he fits so well in New York, especially in the Bronx, especially in that setting and that atmosphere. He is built for that, no doubt. But what people forget is if you look at Juan Soto's track record, you look at his post-game interviews, you look at everything. Well, let me break it down again. If you look at his track record, he chases cash. He chases the money, rightfully so. I'm not knocking the dude. Go get your bag. Hey, you've well earned it. You played fucking baseball insane. I don't think he's the greatest defensive player, but he is one of the greatest hitters. You look at his at-bats. I mean, you look at all of his at-bats from the one where he hit the go-ahead home run against Cleveland, a fucking masterclass. The dude is a hitting genius. I mean, there's no doubt. He's a great hitter, generational hitter. Defense needs some work, but you can't have it all. Anyway, he chases money. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, look, I know that he loved the Yankees. I'm sure that he had that was a great team, great vibes in that clubhouse, all the above. But at the same time, people need to remember who he is and what he does and his track record. The dude's going to chase the cash. No question. No, that's what's going to happen. He's going to chase money. He's been doing it. He's going to keep doing it, right? So let me tell you this. I think that in his post game interview, he was like, well, I'm not gonna, and right. I mean, that was kind of a stupid question to be like, well, are you gonna stay in New York? Are you gonna listen to other offers? And he was like, well, of course I'm gonna listen to other offers. Like, if he was like, well, I really would like to stay in New York, a lot of people are gonna be like, we're not gonna even offer you because you want to stay in New York. So I get that point where he's like, I'm gonna listen to all offers, obviously, but that rubbed some Yankee players the wrong way. Some people who had, a good, they understand how this works. They're like, of course he was gonna say that. But at the same time, part of me, I'm like a 50-50 split on Soto. He may come back. I think that Cashman's going to adjust the payroll a little bit to make sure that they can secure him. They're going to at least put a great offer out there for him. There's no way that the Yankees don't put an offer for Juan Soto after the year they had, the first World Series run they've had since 2009. I don't see them not putting an offer. The other thing, one second, guys. Anyway, I don't see the Yankees not putting an offer, but I don't see that like the Mets are going to pursue hard. The Dodgers have said they're going to pursue hard. Like a lot of people are going to be offering a lot of money. So at the end of the day, it's going to come down to who's going to offer him the most money, the best contract, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which means that there really is no loyalty to New York. There's zero. And that makes me nervous. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. No one knows what's going to happen. So to get comfortable in saying that, of course he wants to come back to New York, I don't see it. I mean, I don't see that he's dead set on coming back to New York. There's just no reason to believe that he's dead set. So I'm a little split on Soto. I know I tweeted, I don't think he's going to be a Yankee. I really believe that he's not. I think that he might be a Met, to be 100% honest with you. I think he might be a Met because they got something cooking over there. They were a good ball club this year. They may get Pete Alonso off the payroll, may get some other guys off the payroll that they can pay him. So I don't know. The other thing I want to talk about, and this is just something that bothered the shit out of me this week. And I feel like shit that I'm even talking about it because like it's giving it more attention when it shouldn't have. But the thing with Joe Kelly, who's just running around doing these like interviews about how shitty the Yankees are, I'm sure I'm sure people have seen it. He was the one. He was one of him in the car talking about how they knew that it was a mismatch and that the Dodgers were a so much better team. X, Y, Z, this, that, and the above. And then he was said on the field. Maybe he was. I don't know if they had already been drinking or what after the World Series. He was like, "Oh, we knew we were going to win. Like the Yankees were going to beat themselves. They played Yankee defense. Blah blah blah." I'm like, brother, you didn't even play in the games. I don't even know. I know he was on the team, but was he even on the roster for the World Series? Like, did you even play? I've kind of tolerated Joe Kelly in the past. Because a lot of his shit has gone against the Astros, which I'm like, I fucking hate the Astros most of the time, but the Astros are kind of getting back in my good graces. I don't hate them as much now. Different leadership, different managers, different ball players. So I can whatever. But this thing, I was kind of put off by it. I was like, what's your deal, bro? Like, you didn't even play. You didn't even throw one fucking pitch. And I don't think the entire postseason. In fact, now that you've got me going, I'm going to even look up his fucking stats. Yeah. 4.78 ERA with a 17 earned runs, and you only threw in 35 games this year. Like, guy, you didn't even fucking throw, and you're opening your mouth like this? I don't understand. Like, that just upsets me. And a side point, but it's stupid. So the first thing I noticed, we got qualifying offers are going out. I think the deadline was yesterday to get them out, and then they have, like I said, to the 19th to get them. There's 13 players that were tendered qualifying offers, which is 1 year, 21 million, I think is what they offer. And it's to keep them from going, like almost like an arbitration type deal, keep them from going to the free agency, kind of just extending them 1 year. So these are the guys that did get one. Now, Willy Adames for the Brewers got one. I'm sure he'll take it. I don't see where else he would go. Had a good year. I think, here we go. 21 steals, 112 RPIs, 32 homers. That's career high, 794 OPS. I say he stays. I don't see why he would leave. Now, Pete Alonso got an extended offer. I thought they were going to let him go. He was on the trade block. There was all kinds of shit with Pete Alonso where I was like, is he really going to, are they going to get rid of him? Like, what's going on? Like, and a lot of people either love Pete Alonso or they hate Pete Alonso. And I'm kind of in the middle. I think he's a good ball player. I think he's a good dude. Nothing crazy about him. Like, but like, he's a durable first baseman. He's a solid guy who's going to play a good chunk of the year. He doesn't get hurt a whole lot. Well, okay, let me backtrack because he does. I don't think he's ever actually, now that I want to stick my foot in my mouth, but he does not play a full year most times, but he plays a good chunk and he had a good year, a lifetime 854 OPS. So I don't know, 226 home runs in his career. I don't know. I don't know if he's going to take that. I think that he might get offered more going into free agency with somebody else. There's a lot of people in need. The Yankees need a first baseman because they didn't, they didn't tender, or they non-tendered Rizzo. So Rizzo's now a free agent, which is, people are upset about it. But kind of talking about first basemans, I guess we'll talk about Rizzo a little bit. Rizzo was not himself. I mean, he missed so much of the year with the concussion thing and then the broken fingers and XYZ. He went into the postseason, was 100 and something at bats without a home run. He wasn't the power hitter that he's been. It just was a very disappointing way to see Anthony Rizzo. And I knew when he came back and I was watching him play all postseason from the DS to the CS to the World Series, I was like, there's no fucking way the Yankees are going to keep this guy. You got Ben Rice in the chamber. You got Oswaldo Cabrera who can definitely man it down. You got John Birdie who can man it down. Like, they were rotating first baseman in and out. Obviously DJ LeMahieu, but I'm not expecting much. I don't think DJ LeMahieu comes back either. But the question is, do the Yankees go out and get a first baseman, or do they rely on Ben Rice, a rookie? The Yankees have a lot of young guys. Again, the Astros are another team that need a first baseman. They cut what's his name, Diaz, early in the year. I know they played Singleton a little bit. They've been kind of platooning guys in and out, but they don't have a solid piece there either. So there's quite a few people that are in need of a first baseman. Pete Alonso if I was Pete Alonso, I'd test the market. Straight up, I'd test the market. Alex Bregman, another one who was given an extension, another guy who I think is going to test the market. He hasn't been the guy he was when they won it in 17 and in 18, 19, that kind of historic run that the Astros had. He hasn't been that guy. He had a decent year, definitely a slow start to the year. Only had 26 home runs, 768 OPS, and a 4.1 WAR. Again, not the greatest year you want to have going into free agency, but I think he's going to test it. And the Yankees have expressed a lot of interest. I know that he was up at the deadline. They didn't actually get rid of him. They thought they were going to make a run. So I don't know. Corbin Burns is another guy that is, he got traded to the Orioles from the Brewers, and he was just an absolute monster out there. I mean, Corbin Burns is going to test free agency. He's not going to take that offer. And if he leaves, he's going to get paid somewhere. Corbin Burns is going to get paid. Next one on the list is Max Fried, who also got an offer. But again, he has one of the best ERA plus 151 among pitchers. Like, so many teams need an ace right now, whether it's due to injury, Spencer Strider out. You look at the Guardians who lost Shane Bieber. Like, the Yankees are definitely going to be needing somebody else because, Rodon did not get it done in any facet at all. The Mets are going to need some pitching between Manaea, who was opting free agency. Like, a bunch of teams are needing a fucking guy. So it's hard for me to sit here and look. Like, I looked at the list this morning on MLB Network of all the pitchers who are free agents, and there's too many out there. So if I was him, test the market. Test the fucking market. You're going to get paid somewhere, I promise. Same with Blake Snell. Blake Snell's another one, but I don't think he's on the list of receiving an offer. We'll get there. There's a bunch of them. These are the guys that did receive an offer. Yeah, okay. So Max Fried, Teoscar Hernandez, another one. Test the fucking market, dude. Had a fucking year, man. Dude, he signed a 1 year 23.5 with the Dodgers. He'll make way more than that. I mean, come on. That's less than, like, to stay with. I mean, the only reason he would take it is to run it back with the Dodgers. And I don't take care of yourself first, man. Get paid. Maybe they'll even pay you if you get rid of that offer. Sean Manaea, another one who's not going to. He opted out. So that's another one. Nick Martinez, not that big. Nick Pivetta, not that big. Santander, Severino's another guy who really busted out this past year. Had an awful year in 2023, a 6.65 ERA, found new life, signed a 1 year $13 million in free agency, stayed healthy all year with a 3.91 and over 182 innings. That's fucking phenomenal. Big fan of Severino this year. He was solid. He's going to test it. He should. I mean, if he's a little worried, obviously that's it's 21 million over the 13 he signed for the year, so he might take it. Again, a lot of these teams who had good runs, who created these bonds, like at this point, like it's like some of these guys have the options. Like, where do you want to play, man? Like, what are you trying to do? And that's a big piece to it. Like, whether like I just said with Teoscar, like the only reason he would take that because he'll get fucking paid somewhere. He had a fucking year. He was clutch in big moments, big situations. The game 5, the double, like he had some big pieces, so he could test it and he'll get paid. But the only reason I think he stays, unless the Dodgers sign him to a big contract after he declines that, is to run it back. That's the only reason why. Soto, obviously, he's not going to even look at that. That's not even close. We already talked about Soto. Christian Walker got extended but didn't. But yeah, it's going to be crazy. All right, now the guys that didn't get one that I thought would get one, or at least that I'm not surprised. Paul Goldschmidt, we knew he was on the block. He was going to get traded, so we knew he wasn't going to get a qualified offer. The one that surprised me, that really, really surprised me, was Walker Buehler didn't get a qualifying extension offer. Now, he's got 2 Tommy Johns, red flag. Was injured with a hip injury, red flag. The 2 Tommy Johns itself is a red flag to a lot of teams, especially front office guys, because they're like, your durability has got to be in the tank. But even though he had a rough year, I'm a Walker Buehler fan, if you can't tell. He had a rough year. I mean, he was like a 6 ERA, got shelled by the Padres in his first start. But out of those 3 starts, he was clutch. And then he closed the World Series for you, like 1, 2, 3. So he's got it. Whatever it was that and I think this is the thing I said it forever ago before the series. Walker Buehler was a different guy from 2019 to 2020 to 2021, 2022 when he got hurt. He was a different pitcher. He could run the fastball up to 100. He could bully people with that pitch, and then he could drop that loopy curveball. He could throw the slider. He could throw the changeup. He was a different kind of pitcher. But then you go back, right? You go back and you look at the injury again, the Tommy John, and then the hip injury. It's like you just don't have that velo anymore. You don't have that in your tank. Yeah, you can get it up to 97, 98, but that 97, 98 doesn't play like a 101, 100, 101. Doesn't play the same. So now you have to kind of rebrand your repertoire, rebrand your arsenal, like what you're going to pitch, because you can't get away with fastballs at 95, 94, 95 up in the zone because those go dead. Those leave the park, and you have to kind of pitch different. And I think his latter half of the year when he did return, it took some adjustment. And with the Dodgers not having a lot of guys, they may have put him through. They needed him up there fast, experience. He still has great stuff, obviously. I think he just needed some time to figure out who he was and like how to pitch this way, not the way he used to. I think that's the biggest piece. But somebody's going to pay Buehler. Let's just be honest. After that performance, somebody's going to pay Walker Buehler. Shane Bieber, another guy, injury. Obviously, the Guardians are looking to do something now. Obviously, Shane Bieber is not going to do anything for at least till June, July, if that, maybe. So not surprised there. Jerks and Profar. Ha-Sung Kim. Profar was okay this year. That's kind of surprising, but obviously these guys are going to find clubs and they're going to get paid decent. So Tyler O'Neill, I don't really know what to think about that guy. He's an average tool utility guy, middle infield, decent bat. I can see why. The Red Sox had an awful year, which is uncharacteristic of them. They've always been pretty solid. Like, you look back all the way, like, they've been good. Won the World Series in whatever year they won, I think it was 18, and haven't really come up since. Like, missed the playoffs last year, missed the playoffs this year. Like, they're going to have to do something major because it just wasn't there. Ended up trading Chris Sale to the Braves, and then he fucking went off. Like, bad luck for the Red Sox. Bad time to be a Red Sox fan. And then, obviously, Gleyber Torres did not get an option. We knew that was going to come. Another one that I was like, they're not going to sign him back. It's just too many. You look at all the stuff that happened this past year with the effort stuff and just poor defense. He's one of the worst defenders in MLB baseball with the amount of errors. Had a fucking key error in that game one against the Dodgers in the World Series where he olayed the ball and it went behind him. Like, shit like that can't happen in the big leagues. Can't happen in those moments. And front office people, managers, they're like, we can't have this. Like, we've already been on your ass about being lazy, about not playing well, about not hitting, like, whatever it was. He had so many problems this year that I can't see why people may have thought that he was going to get offered. It just wasn't going to happen. Like I said, he might get offered somewhere. It ain't going to be in New York. Sadly enough, it's not going to be in New York, but it is what it is. But yeah, those are all the guys that got offers, and then surprising guys who didn't get offers, or at least qualified extensions. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. The offseason has just begun. We got all kinds of shit happening. It's going to be wild. I can't wait to see what else happens. It's going to be interesting. But again, the biggest piece is obviously Gerrit Cole and Juan Soto, and the whole thing with Walker Buehler and all these other guys, Walker Buehler, Teoscar Hernandez. It's going to be interesting to see. I know these guys have, let me see if I can, qualifying offers. I know there's a time period where these guys have to respond or not to go to free agency. There it is. Let's see. All right. So I was right. I was about 21. So a qualifying offer is 1 year, 21.05 million for 2025. It's 1 year. Those players now who got given that offer, so I guess they had till last night to extend those offers. Players now have until 4 p.m. Eastern time on November 19th to decide whether they want it or they don't. Players who accept qualifying offers are signed to their teams for the next season at the designated value, the 21.05. Those who don't accept remain free agents, and if a new team signs them, their old team receives a draft pick compensation in the comp round. It's okay, fair. I think that's a decent amount of time. It's about 2 weeks to decide. I think that's fair. So we're gonna see, man. It's gonna be interesting. There's a lot of moving pieces. Even guys that didn't get qualifying offers. There's a lot of free agents. A lot of fucking big pitchers that are free agents this year. It's gonna be a crazy offseason, and we're gonna cover it all. I promise we're gonna cover it all. So if you've been tuning in, if you've been watching on YouTube, if you've been listening on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen, if you follow on Instagram, TikTok, etc. I've kind of said I don't know what the cadence is really going to be for the offseason. Right now, it's looking like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday deal. We'll have 3 a week. I think that's the easiest way to do it. And obviously, if there's breaking news or anything that happens, we'll have obviously social stuff. We'll have all the kinds of stuff going on. So once again, guys, I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. Obviously, these are the biggest moments right now that are happening. Obviously, we're like 4 or 5 days into the offseason and shit's already popping off. So we're in for one, man. We're in for one. I know winter meetings are in like a week or two, so that'll be cool. So, I mean, I think that when are winter meetings? I think that's in November. Let's see. Sorry, not this month. I'm an idiot. They're in Dallas. That's kind of dope. But they're from December 9th through the 12th. That's kind of cool. Anyway, so we got a lot of stuff happening. A lot of stuff to report on, so don't miss it. Be sure to follow us, like, subscribe on YouTube. Make sure to rate us on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Wherever it is, rate it, like it, download it, whatever it asks you to do it. It really helps us out with engagement and etc. If you're on socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, be sure to follow, like, comment, talk shit to me. Let's talk baseball, man. If you that's the thing, man. If y'all have something to say, if you don't agree with me, tell me, man. Let's talk baseball. That's what I do this for. Let's discuss. Let's talk. It's awesome. So once again, guys, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you guys on Wednesday in the next episode.